Hi guys, quick look at a CZ75B Omega. Now the Omega is really referring to the new trigger system that CZ developed in 2009, and they ran with that trigger system until 2015, and then they brought out this particular pistol, which is the CZ75 Omega convertible, meaning that it is convertible from a safety, and you can then install that, and then the safety becomes a decocker. I'll show you on a different video how that works. In this video I just want to show you how this differs from the regular B. Now the convertible CZ introduced in 2016, and unfortunately in 2023 they dropped the Omega convertible, and I do believe that's a pity. I think CZ should have stuck this out, and I like the system better than where they're running like the CZ75B, and then they got the BD, that's the decocker, and the B is the safety. Two different pistols. This combines that and gives the owner the option of how he wants to switch it all out. So just on over here I got a regular B. There's no Omega sign on there, and I just want to show you kind of the visual differences between the two. So this one is currently set up for the manual safety, meaning that you can carry it cocked and locked, and the B is that way. So anyway, so visually very little difference between the two. The rear sight is obvious. Shape of the hammer is also another difference, and then the shape of the triggers are different. One difference I do like is this one's got a bit of a beaver tail there, on the back, rounded up there, where the old one kind of faces down, and it does dig into my hand slightly. Also, the convertible was ambidextrous, meaning it's got the safety switch on the right hand side, as well as the mag release is swappable. So you can see on the shape is different, and you can take this one out, put it on the other side for left-handed use. I'm going to break them both down and show you the differences on the inside. For some reason it prefers if you let the hammer down to get the slide off. Okay, starting on the frame. So I got the regular B on the left, and the B the Omega on the right. On the Omega, it's got the trigger bow that goes back to trip the sear is single. It only runs on the one side, where on the regular one it goes around both sides around the magazine. And you can see this whole sear block here is different between the two. So the way the mag release comes in on the regular one, it comes in with the screw, and it's got the wire spring that pushes up on the trigger bow, upward pressure on the trigger bow. On the Omega, what they did was they used the Tanfoglio method, where you got the little hole through the mag release and a pin that locates it that way. So you pull that out, and there's a little spring that will come shooting out there, and you swap it around, push it in, and then that holds it in. And they're still using a wire spring, so Tanfoglio uses a plunger on that pin to push up on this trigger bow. What they're doing is they got a wire spring that fits into a little hole in the frame at the tip of that tool, and it pushes up on the bow. You can actually, I can flip it out like there. So there's the little wire spring that pushes up on that bow. battle to get it back. Okay, I did not battle to get it back. It pushes back up on that, so that's the way they've accomplished that. On the trigger, on the regular CZ, you got your trigger spring, and it's a coil spring with two legs like that, and the one leg pushes on the frame and the other leg goes down behind the trigger, between the trigger and this trigger bow, and that pushes the trigger forward. The spring on this one looks the same, but there's a little hole in the trigger right over there, where the one leg goes into that hole into the trigger, and then the other leg sits over there. Also, they've done away with the regular CZ. The plain CZ75B uses a kind of a rolled pin trigger pin, which is flared open once you got it in. It's kind of flared on either side, and it's a use once pin, so if you knock it out, you got to replace it. And there's a lot of aftermarket free floating pins that's just got a little step in the pin, and that spring kind of holds the pin in, and that's what CZ did over here. This pin is a step pin, so it's not a use once type pin. Also on the hammer pin, the hammer rotates on. The design of that pin is different, and I'm not sure what holds it in. On the old, the regular B, it's got a pin with a head on that goes through, and then there's a pin that sits under the sear cage that slides down from the top, and that stops that pin from backing out. But this pin doesn't have that. Doesn't have it on either side. So I'm thinking it's also a step pin, and there's a spring on the inside that holds that in. And then obviously, like I mentioned before, the old sear cage is different, and the way it works is completely different. And I've not had this apart to see what the differences are, but it's still got a firing pin block, and it's actuated by that little lever. When I pull the trigger, that will move up, and that will depress the firing pin block, freeing up the firing pin to move in its channel. Same as what the old one's got, that lever over there, which does the same thing. On the slides, they are near identical, if not identical. So I got the B on the left and the Omega on the right. They are essentially the same design. Can't visually see any difference between the two. This one's the Omega's got an additional little cutout over there, which the B doesn't have. B's got that cutout on that side. I think it's maybe got to do with the ambi function, because it's only on the one side on the B, and it's both sides on the Omega. Let's see what the recoil spring and barrel looks like. Plastic recoil rod, plastic recoil rod, barrels appear to be identical. Magazines are identical. Slide stops are the same in length, though the Omega's kind of got a bit of a reinforcement there. Shape is slightly different. Reassembly is exactly the same as typical, as any other CZ. Barrel, recoil spring and rod, slide it back, line up the marks, It's a pity it's been discontinued in 2023. However, you still pick up the odd new one. This one's brand new, unfired, belongs to a buddy. Let's see, it's a 2022 gun, and they're still out there. Like I say, it's a pity they discontinued this system. I really do like it because I like to shoot with my thumb on the safety, and when the gun's got a decocker over there, it's in my way. Be sure to catch the next video where I'll be converting this to decocker and back to safety. Hope you found that interesting. Stay safe. We talk again. Cheers.